Hi, it's Jane. Thought I'd have you come knit with me while we chit-chat. How is everyone's holidays going? You getting everything done that you had planned on getting done? Me, not so much. I'm not going to worry about it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Anyway, today I am knitting. I'm starting a pair of mittens. Had someone ask me for a pair of mittens, and I'd cast them on but didn't start knitting them. And I figure it's time to start knitting them because otherwise they're never going to get done. And working on the cuffs right now. Like I said, just barely started. I laughed because she wanted black. One of the worst colors to have to work with as you get older. That's not too bad, so at least it'll hide all the mistakes, right? That's what I figure. And then I had someone ask me to make them a poncho. They have the pattern and all the yarn that they need, and they would like me to make them a poncho. I do not like doing things like that, but she asked, so I'll make it. She doesn't have the skills to make her own poncho, so I'll make the poncho. She bought the yarn, so we'll see how that goes, right? And it's not so much, I don't mind making a poncho, but I'm not a big fan of ponchos anyway, just in themselves. So I kind of struggle with that option, that idea of doing the just the poncho in general. Because like I said, I'm not a big fan of doing ponchos, but she asked and I'll do it for that reason. So anyway, I can't wait to see what pattern she picked. Always find it interesting when people choose patterns because you never know what you don't know what they've asked for or what they're looking at till you actually get a hold of the pattern and get to see what their choice was. So it should be interesting to see. And I hope it's not a difficult pattern to do. I mean, I have seen some of those patterns that are just awful. And quite honestly, I am hoping it is a crochet pattern. Because knit takes forever. And I do mean forever. But it's going to be what it's going to be. The kitties, I think I told you we got new furniture. Well, it's not new furniture. It's used furniture, but it's new to us, so I guess that's new furniture, right? Anyway, when the guys brought it in, the kitties were terrified. It took me an hour and a half to find Izzy. It took me 2 hours to find Ronan. But, and then the funny thing is, after they came out, they were terrified of the furniture. It took them a little while to warm up to it. I was sitting on the love seat. And Ronan finally got brave enough to get up there and jump up onto the love seat with me. And he realized, oh my goodness, I can get lots of pets this way. So he has now decided that he loves the love seat because he gets to get up and sit next to me, lay next to me, and I can just pet him. You know, he thinks I can just pet him all day long. He doesn't realize I have things to do. You know, just like a kid. He's found out that, oh, Mama's got that free hand. I can get lots of loving now. And other than that, he's been enjoying one of the chairs I've always had set apart from a lot of the other chairs in the house. So the cats always have an option of getting into those chairs, away from all the other nonsense that's going on in the house, that kind of thing. And they are absolutely loving that option too. So that's kind of funny watching them with that. And if you're wondering, I am doing the magic loop method of knitting. Oops. Which sometimes I have to remind myself it's the opposite way. See, I always pull that first needle. It needs to be the needle in the back. Come forward. I always do that. But then I get situated back in the right deal and do it the right way. I have that second sock syndrome. So if I don't do them both at the same time, they're not going to get done. And I will tell you, I had 1 year, for the longest time, I did NaNoWriMo every Thanksgiving, month of November. And what that is, it's a period where you challenge yourself as a writer to write a 50,000 word book during that month of November. Well, during that month also, we were doing, the Naughty Knitters group was doing mittens for Head Start, as in all the Head Start kids. So we needed about 200 mittens, and they had determined that we were going to deliver them right after Thanksgiving, and of course, we didn't have any mittens made. And there was only one other person that was making mittens, and she only makes one mitten at a time. So I decided, all right, I'm going to make mittens. So I made mittens 2 at a time until I got, I'd set a goal for 100 mittens because we were going to be short 100 mittens. So I set that goal to do the 100 mittens. I did achieve the goal and got my book written, my 50,000 word book written. But I got to tell you, it was interesting because by the end of the how did I get that all screwed up? By the end of the month, my word count was 60,000 and not just 50,000. 60,000. And I had 102 mittens made. And I have no idea how I did that. None. Now, granted, these were children's mittens. And this was a pattern. Oh, I can't remember who put the pattern out originally. But it was a real easy pattern. And it didn't take any time at all to get done. It was just a matter of finding the time to get it done. And I determined that that's what I was going to do. And that's what I did. And I find it interesting how we find the time to push ourselves for certain things, but not always everything, that happens. So, yeah. And then my BSF group this morning, we decided to get together. We don't have any more Bible study until after the new year, but we had decided to get together and have a brunch, breakfast, lunch thing together, bring different things, and just have some fellowship and some fun times like that. So we did that, and then of course we played this game that not really sure what the name of the game is called, but basically, um, you take like a theme, and everybody takes a piece of paper, and they write 3 to 5 things about that theme, that describe the theme. A couple of words or just a word. So we decided Christmas, and what I thought was funny is the way that it worked is you would it's sort of like charades, but it wasn't. First of all, you would start with, you could use a couple of words to describe the word that you had on your piece of paper, but you couldn't use any of the words. And then the next set of example is you couldn't use any words whatsoever. You had to do charades, like to act it out, that kind of thing. And then the third round is the same words you put back in a bowl, and you would, name off teams. And we did ones and twos, and only the ones could guess when one of the ones was doing the game, trying to describe the word, whatnot, or doing the charade. And then the third round is you could use one word to describe what you were looking for. Now, not each time, the first time I didn't get this word, but the first time I got the word labor. And, I'm like, how am I going to describe that? So, I kind of turned sideways and did the thing with the belly. And then I bent over like I was grabbing, a baby that was being delivered. Everybody caught that it was labor. That second round that we had to do charades, I got the word Bethlehem. And I, for the longest time, couldn't figure out how to describe Bethlehem. So, I did like a little cradle like this, and then a baby, a star, and finally I did this, and one of the gals goes, Bethlehem! And I was like, yes, thank you, Lord, because I could not figure out how to describe that word at all. And there were a couple of words that were hard, like nostalgia. Someone had the word nostalgia. One of the gals had put in the word for her item for Christmas was Nestor the one-eared donkey, Christmas donkey or something like that. So everybody was trying to guess what that was, and finally they guessed it. One of our gals someone had put in the word fruitcake, and we were talking about the fruitcake. It's something nobody wants at Christmas, has candied fruit, that kind of thing. And we finally guessed it was fruitcake. And one of the gals in the group said her and her family have a fruitcake they got this year, and they're all going to try it together. They've never had it before, so they're going to do that this year for their Christmas. So again, then the next round for the game, someone had chosen the word fruitcake, and she's pointing at that girl about her, trying to show a counter and all kinds of things. It was hilarious. Let me tell you, it's a great game to play. It was a lot of fun. Of course, we weren't playing competition anyway, to win or lose. We were just having fun with it. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And we just had a great time enjoying each other's company, and just chit-chatting about things along the way. So it was a lot of fun. And I'm glad that we chose to do that. This is a good group of Christian women, and it's a great group to just sit, enjoy, and have some time. And one of the gals, she had her grandson in, so she had brought her grandson in a big tote full of Legos and cars and trucks, so that they were playing over off to the side while we were playing. So, like I said, it was just a lot of fun doing those kind of things, especially with people you enjoy being with. And one of the words, which I thought was funny, everybody kept throwing back into the pot, was excitement. And one of the girls got the word, and she'd done this. And from that, everybody was able to figure out that she was saying excitement. So, it's funny how you can find these words sometimes, but you can't get them to come to your mind when you need them. Now, nostalgia was one of those, that I don't know how you would describe nostalgia, to be honest. I mean, that is not an easy word to even use in charades, so. But it was interesting. Let me check and make sure this isn't something that's going on. So yeah, it's nice to be able to get together with friends and do something fun like that every once in a while. And like I said, we really did enjoy it quite a bit. So, do any of you have any great big busy plans for the for this Christmas season? Now I got myself all discombobulated. Have to get myself fixed up here again. So I'm heading in the right direction. Okay, there we go. It's easy to get off track if you're not paying attention. But, strange sounds coming from my neighbor. What can I say? So, yeah, we had a good time, enjoyed the company, enjoyed each other's presents. And, it isn't anything that we do, but we kind of laughed about it. We think it might be a new tradition because it was such fun. So, who knows? We may make it a new tradition, of course, may not. I hope so, because it's quite a bit of fun, just enjoying each other's company. One of the other Bible studies I go to has decided, I think they've decided, that next year, because we're finishing up Luke this next week, so next year I think we're doing the third season of The Chosen, watching it together and then discussing it. Some different Bible lessons out of it. And I was laughing. I said, oh, great, I'm going to have to bring a box of Kleenex every time. It seems like any time I watch The Chosen, I do wind up crying at least once during it, so I don't know if others do that, but I do. I don't worry about it anymore. I just let the tears flow and enjoy the day. I find it sad that we have so many people that have so much mental health issues these days that they find turning to violence, as in the shooting at the Christian school this week. It's really sad. And I think it the saddest thing about it is it appears that it's another transgender child that perpetrated the shooting, which in itself is sad there. And I'm not sure if, I don't know if a lot of people don't realize that the drugs, the puberty blockers and things like that do a mental number on these kids. So it's hard enough as an adult to make a transition like that psychologically and to be on those kind of drugs because they are some heavy hitter drugs. When you are using things like puberty blocking agents, that also messes with people's psychological and their mental stability. So I think it's something we need to, be more aware of as we're looking at trans kids and some of the things that they go through. And, I'm not sure that if this child went to this school, what kind of things led up to this person going to this school. And if there was some bullying involved, yes, Christians can be bullies. Or if this, child perceived that there was something akin to bullying. Of course, we may never know because, seems like nowadays that powers that be don't really want to talk about the issues that go along with some of those decisions in giving a child those kind of drugs. So think it needs to be studied a little bit more. There has to be a safer way. Like I said, even adults that are going through this on those medications, they can really mess up your brain and the way that your thinking happens. So, and I'm not so sure the doctors these days insist that they have psychiatric backup or, work with a psychologist while they're going through this thing. In the past, that has been an absolute must, but I think there have been a lot of advocates trying to get away from that, and I don't think that that is a safe option for anyone involved, especially the person that is undergoing that kind of treatment. So it's just sad. And I think the sad thing is, when I first saw the reports, they were talking about infants being brought in. I think because there was daycare there, maybe it was just they were running to the hospital as a safe haven. Who knows what was going on. But it's just sad that we see so much of it today. And no, it's not the gun's fault, because we see that people doing stupid stuff like driving cars into buildings or, hitting people. There's that whole thing with, I think it was outside of Dallas in Plano. There was someone that hit a child that was on their way to school with their car. And of course, the child's screaming bloody murder, and the car took off and, kind of left him alone. Don't know that the girl had any major injuries. I'm sure she's probably black and blue today from the the incident. But it's sad that this person, hit her and took off. I will tell you, I'm hoping that they can find that person. And then I gotta tell you, I was watching, someone had sent me a video, and it was one of those videos where you just kind of laugh at it. It was someone who was here illegally and was caught driving, and he did something wrong while he was driving, so they were asking him for his driver's license, and he was telling them he didn't have to have a driver's license because he didn't need it. He didn't have to have it. Wasn't something he thought he needed. Unknown caller. And that is a scary thing as well, when we see that kind of thing. I have a feeling, since it sounds like I've had 2 calls come in at once, that it's another realtor. Told you about the listing being up with the realtor that I have currently. And so I've been getting calls from all kinds of realtors about, noticed your listing is up. We'd love for you to go with us, that kind of thing. And that's been such a joy, I have to tell you people, such a joy. Not. But I got a ways to go on these. These are the cuffs that I'm working on. I have a bit of a ways to get them to where they're 4 inches and ready to move on, switch to the larger needles. These are the smaller needles. This pattern calls for using size 5 and size 7 needles with worsted weight. And this pattern is the World's Simplest Mittens by Tin Can Knits. And she gives you ways to use any kind of yarn, the needles that you would need for those, that kind of thing. So it's a great pattern. It's easy, simple. It's one of my favorite ones to use. When I do make mittens, the other one I think is Yarnspirations, has a family pair of mittens that I've made quite often, for the smaller kids. So that one is pretty easy as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to lately. Not a whole lot. Haven't had a lot of opportunity to get a lot of things done crochet-wise. Just had a couple of things that just kept me busy, so hoping to change that now that there's a nice vacation coming up, 2-week break after Christmas between all the activities. I have Awana tomorrow, and tomorrow is our Christmas party, which it's always fun, with the exception of the kids get to buy toppings for their ice cream with the points that they've gained throughout the year. But that means someone has to take them through and with their points be able to deduct their points at each station where they get their toppings. Folks, it's been years since I've used math like that. You have to, do a subtraction from them and everything else. I'm like, I'm too old for this nonsense. It's too hard. And there are times, some of the kids, like, they may need, I don't know, say 5 points to get the next topping. I ain't gonna sweat it when it comes to the math, and you know what I mean, friends? There's times I'm like, nah, let them have it. I'll eat the points. And I know the other gals do that too. The men, not so much. And they're like, and I'm like, so what happens with their extra points? Do they go back for the next end of the year party? And our kids are always wanting a pizza party. I think it's hilarious that they want a pizza party. So, but they're going to do a little ceremony. Normally we throw the youngest group out, the 2 to 4 year olds, and they go off to their own little thing with one of our gals who she hates giving up her kids when it's time for them to graduate up to a higher group, but she eventually is okay with it. But and then they do a thing that's the gospel box. I think I've told you about the gospel box before, where you put an item, the kids take the box home, and they put an item in the box for the next week. And the box comes in, and, the leader of the Awana we all try to guess what's in the box. He shakes the box, and we try to figure out what it is, and talk about it. Then he shows what's in the box, and he gives you a gospel message around that. And there are some times we just know it's going to be stumped. There was one where the kids brought in lint from the dryer. And I thought, how is he going to use this? He did it, though. Great gospel message. But, there are times you think, they're going to stump him. They're going to stump him. Come on, keep open, someone will stump him. But he's pretty good at this game, so... and it's a lot of fun seeing the kids interact and, talk with him about those kind of things. And then afterwards, we're going into the big sanctuary. Some of the kids have been practicing handbells, so they're going to give a little concert for everybody. And then we will go back and they will have a snowball fight. I have no idea what the snowballs are going to consist of. So that should be interesting to see what they made the snowballs out of. Maybe paper? Or maybe they purchased snowballs? Who knows? That should be interesting. And the kids always have a good time. And then they get their ice cream afterwards, and then they get sent home with Mom and Dad, who have to try to get them to sleep after having all that. I do hope that they chose an alternative for a couple of the kids there who have some issues, like the lactose intolerant or the children who don't have, their parents do not allow them to have chemicals of any kind, which I think is probably smart. And I will tell you, this woman that does this, her family was originally from Canada. And I do know that Canada doesn't allow certain things in their foods, that are in our foods, that are processed in our foods, that many other countries do not allow. So that's probably a good thing. probably something all of us should follow a little bit more closely. But, because otherwise those kids might feel a little bit left out, not getting to join in the reindeer games, so to speak, into the food foray. And that is just something that our fearless leader really doesn't think about a lot. What I think is funny is when we were talking, he said he's not really a kid person. He's good with the kids, though. As he puts it, he always feels uneasy around the kids, which I find that hard to believe because, like I said, he is good with the kids. But, I kind of feel the same way, and I told him, I said, yeah, I feel the same way. I don't feel like I'm very good around the kids. He started laughing. He said, but all the kids talk with you and enjoy your company, and they're always coming up to you in church and other times talking to you. I've seen you out in public and see the kids that don't go to our church, and they always come and talk to you and whatnot. I said, yeah, that doesn't mean I have to feel easy about being around kids. And I tell him, I said, I think a lot of that is because I have not had contact with kids in many years. Awana was the first time I stepped up, and I have enjoyed it. Really have enjoyed it quite a bit. But it would not have been something that I would have jumped right to do, to be honest. Like I said, I had that little nudge from God to step up and help, and I have been enjoying it, so. Although I don't enjoy when Luke tries to get us to play. He wants us to play the games with the kids. I mean, they play a lot of kickball, a lot of soccer, and I am not very easy. I do not have an easy feeling about that. I'll be honest, I am scared of falling and getting hurt. But I do play occasionally. It's not such a rough game. I'll play. Or I'll, encourage the kids when they're playing. So, I have been looking at intentions for the coming up year, and I have set them down into a notebook, hopefully so that I can keep them fresh in my mind. I have decided to do something with my totes of yarn, and I will discuss that later once the new year gets closer at hand, and might be a fun little adventure for all of us. Who knows? You never know. And it's something that I was thinking about doing for quite some time anyway. But I just wasn't sure how I wanted to do that. So, and sometimes you kind of have to wait for the right thing to come along to get you motivated to do it. So, I'm hoping that this has done it. All right, I think I have chatted on long enough, so I am going to let you folks go. And I will see you again soon. I hope everybody has a great week. And remember, be kind to one another. See you soon. Bye.